Hey guys, before I get into my review, I just wanted to say I missed last week. Really sorry about that. I had a hectic beginning to my week and I just couldn't get around to doing it. I like to spend time talking about these episodes. This one I'm recording right away just cuz I love this episode so much. So, I'm definitely going to miss some stuff in this review and I apologize for that, but I just wanted to get this review out quickly. But yeah, I'm sorry for missing last week. I had a busy week. But let's get into this episode. Welcome, everyone, to Jaden's Jam. I'm your host, Jaden Goss, and today I'm going to be talking about House of the Dragon, Episode 7, Driftmark. Man, this is my favorite show on TV right now, and this is easily, well, not even easily, because I've felt like no episode has disappointed me or been bad. And this one is no different, but it's my favorite of the season. As a longtime fan of this franchise, seeing someone claim a dragon, how they executed Aemond claiming Vagar was a moment that I was really looking forward to because Aemond, as you'll find out as you continue to watch the show, he's one of the biggest characters on this show. He's going to have so many moments. But this was the moment this is probably the second moment that I'm looking forward to the most involving Aemond. And holy shit, it was beautiful. I found myself rooting for him. And just how the CGI and God, I have no complaints with the visual effects on this show. The dragons look so good. And him claiming Vagar is the best scene out of this show so far. It's my favorite scene. When I look at all the stuff that's happened so far in this show, this is my favorite moment. And I could have watched him riding this dragon for 10 minutes and I would have been happy. And I could not take my eyes off the screen this whole episode. That is like modern times watching a TV shows. We have these computers in our pockets, most of us, that, our eyes are just drawn to our phones. I never have a moment watching this show where I want to look at my phone. And that's how I know that this show is so good. Because I often find myself looking at my phone when I'm watching other things. But, anyways, this episode was fantastic. Aemond is. Oh, he's such a good character. And I love the moment when he does claim Vagar. Immediately after, he's a complete asshole already. He's got the arrogance already, just from claiming Vagar, who is the largest dragon in Westeros. This is the nuclear weapon that you want on your side when you're about to go to a war. And I just loved it. And what I love about Game of Thrones, this universe in general, is the fact that you will be rooting for characters on both sides of a conflict or whatever. And the scene where Aemond is getting ganged up on by his nephews, yeah, his nephews was just like I found myself like rooting for him, but at the same time going, "Oh, you're a dick." But at the same time then going back, "Oh shit, they're all just ganging up on him and beating the fuck out of him." And he still managed. I love it when your heart is in conflict because you are liking one character, but maybe a character you like also will be in conflict with them, and then you're like, oh, I don't know who to root for. And that's how it was when all the kids were fighting him. And this is the moment, I said Vagar, big moment I've been looking forward to, but also I've been looking forward to Aemond. This is a big moment in Fire and Blood. It's one of the big reasons why there's such a big split between the factions in the Targaryen family. And him losing an eye is just a huge moment, and I've been waiting for it, and they pulled it off so fucking well. I loved every second of this episode. This is the first episode where all the characters are in the same room together, and I think they've already said that this is the only time all the characters will be in the same location together going forward. And God, there's just so much that happened in this episode that I know I'm gonna miss stuff. Rhaenyra and Damon got together. This is something that they've been building towards since the beginning, and it's weird, because they're related, but at the same time, there's so much chemistry, and they point out the obvious. That's the one thing I do like about this show is they will often point out the obvious in dialogue, and they do that. You can tell that she's in love with him. She's been in love with him for a long time. She just like can't take her eyes off him. They're such a chaotic couple, and just having these two chaotic forces come together in this episode after so much build up, and they executed it so perfectly. And oh, something they changed from the books was, so in Fire and Blood, Laenor is murdered by his lover, and it's said that he was murdered because he had found a new lover, and Carl had gotten jealous, and they got into a fight at the market or something, and Carl kills Laenor. But I love the fact that they tricked me. They this, this is one of those situations where, I know the story for the most part. In Fire and Blood, there's different ways that stories can go. There's a bunch of rumors, so you don't know for sure everything that happens. It could be with a certain lens to it, might not happen the same way, but it's not often where I'm completely shocked. I know for the most part what's gonna happen most likely, and I love the bait and switch where Laenor survived and he wasn't just killed. Because that is the thing. If they would have just killed him, that would have been, we would have lost Harwin, Lena, and Laenor in a 2 episode span. And in the book, it was always like curious, like, wow, so did Daemon kill all of them just so that he could marry Rhaenyra? And so I like the bait and switch here, and it makes sense to me, and I loved it. And I love Rhaenyra and Laenor's relationship. And they answered some questions. You know, did they actually try and have kids? And turns out they did. They did try and have kids, but it just didn't work out. And it's hard to have a kid in this world. You're not going to get pregnant every time that you have sex with someone. So, just to find, we got some answers to some questions. I love the fact that Rhaenyra is completely supportive of Laenor. He says, "I hate myself for the way I am," and I love that she was supportive of him, and she was like, "No, no, not at all. You should not feel that way." Basically, is what she says, and in the end, she gives him what he wanted. He wanted a way to get out of this situation. You know, it seemed like he was starting to get a little, possibly suicidal. And it's refreshing to see a character get what they want in this universe, because it doesn't happen often. And if it does happen, it ends badly. And hey, it may end badly for Laenor. I don't know if he's going to come back. Just to put this out there, he dies in Fire and Blood, so he's not involved in the dance itself. So they're writing themselves into a new direction completely with this story. So this basically is completely up to them. So I hope he comes back. He shaved his head at the end, so he got rid of the locks. I was floored by this episode. Alicent Hightower played by Olivia Cook, is God. I don't know if she's done enough work be to win to win an Emmy, but I think she should be nominated because she is fantastic. She reminds me so much of Cersei Lannister in a way, but it's different because you got to see her at a younger age, which I think is why this is so genius that they actually had the balls to cast characters at different ages and follow them for 5 episodes. So I'm a little conflicted on Allison sometimes, but she's been such a great villain almost. But you can see it from her perspective if you really look at it. And the moment between her and Rhaenyra, where, after Aemon's lost his eye, and there's that whole conflict, Viserys just does not want to see it. God, Patty Constantine's doing such a great job as Viserys, but Viserys just doesn't want to see it. And the moment where she grabs the dagger and she's running at Rhaenyra, that was in the trailer. I think one of the first trailers we got. So, this moment was coming if you watched the teaser trailers and stuff. And it just worked. It worked so well. And it was such a great scene. I'm definitely going to watch this 2 or 3 more times. Aegon is also. I love the moment where he goes after Aemon's like, they're at the King Viserys is asking him, "Hey, where did you learn about this bastard nonsense?" And Aemon, he looks at his mom, and I love the facial acting there because that's telling you where he learned it. He didn't learn it from Aegon, he learned it from Alicent. But he looks at Alicent, but he says Aegon instead. And Aegon goes, "Me?" It was just such a great acting moment, and I can't help but feel bad for just all of these kids who are just basically being poisoned by their parents to hate each other. And it really just shows you, like, and it's only going to get worse for these kids. And it's just like, it's just so well written. This show is so well written. The dialogue is awesome. There's so many great moments just in every single episode, and this really lived up to my expectations. God, I love Helena and how she's speaking prophecy. And if you're not a book reader, you're probably like, what is she even talking about? But for book readers, it's like, holy crap! Like, she's just speaking so much truth. Like, I definitely implore you guys to pay attention to what Helena is talking about and really like read between the lines because she's saying a lot of like prophetic stuff. And I just love that about what they've done with that character because none of that is in the book. That's all show stuff. And honestly, this show is making Fire and Blood so much better to me. And you know, when you adapt something, you have to change things. Uh, you don't have to, but that's often what has to happen just to make more sense. Maybe you can't do everything the same way, but I've not minded all the changes that they've been making. And yeah, I think this is making Fire and Blood better for me, and I can't wait to reread Fire and Blood after this season. I'm definitely gonna go back and reread it. I do recommend, if you guys have not read Fire and Blood, I definitely recommend just waiting it out. Just wait for this whole dance to be done because you really don't want these moments to be ruined for you because there's so much great stuff coming up. This season, if it ends on the kind of note that it's been landing so far, this is definitely going to be better than the first season of Game of Thrones for me. And God, I love every second of it. I know I'm missing stuff. Otto Hightower came back this episode and he was just fantastic, scheming as ever. I love the scene at the end of the episode with him and Alicent, and she thinks he's going to go one way with his counsel, and no, he surprises her. And he notices, hey, this was a good thing in the long run because we got Vagar, and Vagar is the biggest dragon and the strongest dragon in all of Westeros right now. And that's what we got out of this. And that was a fucking awesome moment with Aemond when, that is something that's said in the books is Aemond was like, yeah, I lost an eye, but I claimed Vagar. And so it was worth it. And I love that he's the one who basically tells his mom, like, no, we don't have to do this. And by the way, hate Kristen Cole. I hate him more every single episode. I arguably, I hate him more than Allison even because I do feel for Allison. She is a mother. She's not, she hasn't shown that she's the best mother, but she is a mother. And I'm a parent. I can understand that. You want to protect your kids. And now that Rhaenyra married Daemon, the whole thing about Otto telling her, hey, your kids are in trouble, it's more true than ever because you guys have seen what Damon is capable of. There's no telling what he would do to her kids if given the chance or whatever. So, and basically, this is just going to be me talking about how much I love it if I keep going. I can't wait till next week. So, this is going to be a spoiler for some people. So, if you don't want to know this, go ahead and click off. I love the episode. Recommend it as always. But spoiler for people who are going to stick around. Episode 8 has a time skip. If you watched the preview, you would know Aegon, Aemond, all the kids are basically being aged up again. And this will also be the last time skip that they do. From here on out, these actors are all staying the same, if I'm not mistaken. Because the dance is just about to begin, really, timeline wise. They're really close to it. So all the actors are going to stay the same. They've already said there will be no more time skips in season 2, so you guys don't have to worry about that. So like this video. Please comment below. Let me know what you think of this show so far. Share this video. And lastly, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow this thing, as you can tell. So I just started this thing and I'm growing slowly, but it helps to subscribe. I'll have reviews for Lord of the Rings, She-Hulk, Andor. So I'll have some reviews coming out over the weeks for those shows. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another House of the Dragon review.